Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to the Long Dark. I'm here in this little cabin that I found at the end of the previous episode, and there's not much here in the way of resources, just basically a bed, but it's a heck of a lot warmer than what it is outside at the moment. My character is getting very thirsty and getting very hungry. I've got plenty of water, but I haven't got a whole lot of food, and before long it looks like I might well have to start eating dog food. Hardly ideal, but I guess it's better than starving. I spent the night in this building and at first light decided to head on out and start scavenging for a bunch more resources, but I was a bit surprised when I actually got out there to see that there was a thick fog set in. Now this can be quite deadly really, because as always in the Long Dark the weather is very much the enemy, and with fog like this it's very easy to get lost and find yourself starting to get cold, hungry and thirsty with nowhere to go. But I knew that out here on this frozen lake there was a bunch more fishing huts that I still hadn't searched, and a very good chance that there would be some very usable and worthwhile resources within them. Being so low on food, it really meant that I couldn't take the risk of hanging around and waiting the weather out, so I decided to head on out on the ice and see what I could find. With the fog being so thick, it did make it quite difficult to navigate across the lake, at least in doing anything other than just moving in straight lines and following the coast round. But I did find that this log cabin here, two of them outside were burnt down, and this one I hoped would have some resources in, and here we are. I did find a little bit of food at last. Now these shelves and the crates, as well as the little armchair there, and the table, these can all be broken down and used for firewood, but it does take time and it does take calories. Now time doesn't matter too much as long as you've got a supply of water and supply of food, especially if you're already in a shelter like this, then you've pretty much got time to spare. But the problem is if you haven't got a lot of food, then you're going to burn up a lot of calories in breaking this stuff down, and that's time you could otherwise spend trying to find food. If you don't do something like that, ultimately you're going to be left starving. Now, the world of the Long Dark is a very desolate and lonely place. There's a lot of post-apocalyptic games out there, but few of them feel as hopeless and as lonely as this game. Trapped out here in the frozen wastelands, it really does feel as though you're the last person left on Earth. Sooner or later, desperation does start to take hold, especially as you begin to descend into the grips of hunger, and you start considering the other alternative food sources around. Now, cattail stalks are edible. They're not particularly nutritional, but they do provide a number of calories, and they're quite easily to collect, especially around this frozen lake here. There's a whole bunch of them around the outskirts. And to be honest, at this point I was really starting to wonder just how long I was going to last out here. Food was getting very scarce, and although there was plenty of shelters around here, any sort of resources seemed to be a very long way off. So knowing it was very likely now or never, I decided to leave the lake and head on out to try and find another place, another resource cache, or something that would be of some sort of use to my survival. There, over to the right, you can see a wolf, and that's something I really do need to avoid, especially at this point. If you get too close to them, they will start attacking you, and I've got no way of defending myself against them. I've got no weapons, although I do have a hunting knife and a hatchet. They don't seem to be anything that you can actually use to attack the wolves with. Now, wolves tend to not attack humans, generally speaking. I guess they might well do if you get this close to one, especially if it's very hungry, but a single lone wolf needs around 7 square kilometers of ground to hunt in, and if you get a pack of 7 wolves or 5 wolves, that will be multiplied by the number of wolves that there actually are. Here then I found the camp office, and it was a mighty relief to see this. Now, as I've said previously, I don't know the map or the area for this particular region. In fact, I don't know the region for anywhere in the game, but I'm slowly starting to build up a picture in my mind of this area, Mystery Lake. This is the first time I've been in this building, but I knew straight away that it was likely to have a whole lot of resources in here, and that it would buy me a lot more time to try and make my survival attempts. But you can see just how cold I am, as well as the fact I'm getting quite hungry and quite thirsty. Again, water's not too much of a problem, but well,
needs this anymore.
There we go, there's some more liquid here. So I spent quite a long time in this camp office. gathering up the various resources as well as getting warm. I didn't light any of these stoves in here, there is 2 of them, but I just stayed in here as the room temperature is fairly warm, so stayed in here until I was warmed up and then went back outside again. Whilst out here is undoubtedly a place of isolation and danger, it is also a place of unrivalled beauty. The camp office is located right near the train track I died at previously, and it's quite a surprise to me to see that I wasn't that far away from one of my previous locations. Now, in my mind's eye, the map I've built of this location can be connected with the map I built of the previous location, and if I keep continuing to do that, eventually I should have an idea of what this entire area is. Having a little bit of a walk around, I knew that somewhere around here, after talking with a few other people that I know have got this game, there is a bunker to be found. There's also some nice stag here, some nice deer, but unfortunately I have no way of hunting or trapping them just yet. Hopefully that will happen soon. After quite a long walk around here, quite a long tour, I was starting to get very cold and very hungry again. Unfortunately I come across this little shelter here and decided to build myself a bit of a fire.
What have we here?
But the truth is, I didn't want to keep just scavenging around and heading blindly from spot to spot without really having any clue of what location I was heading toward. Now, as I mentioned, I did know there was a bunker around here somewhere, but I wasn't having any luck to finding it. And although I've got a fair bit of wood here now that will keep me warm for a little while, I didn't find a lot of food in the camp office, so I really needed to get to another cache. And that bunker sounded perfectly ideal to me. So, being an all-or-nothing attempt, I decided I would go out and try and find it no matter the cost. Now, like I say, I know it's somewhere near this Deadfalls area, but whether it's down on low ground or whether it's high up on one of the hills or under a rock slide, I really don't know yet. But I went out there to have a look and, well, that played out in a particular way. And I'll give you a brief glimpse of that now, but we'll get into the meat of it in the next video.
You and me stuck in a lifelong conversation, a story with no start, no end. I try to keep away, remain a long time distance, but always get me in the end. Irrational thoughts, why are you coming back to my door when there's no room for you? I know I buried you long ago.
Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant, and welcome to the Long Dark, a world of beauty where the days are cold and the nights are deadly. Here, in my cabin, I'm trying to survive an apocalyptic world